Well, the ruling party, the National Liberation Front, is sort of defying the people's will. That is definitely the sentiment here in Algeria. Shock has been noticed yesterday after the president officially submitted his candidacy in the Constitutional Council. Many political observers didn't expect the ruling party to actually go ahead with the candidacy of the president for the fifth term, but it happened to the shock of everybody. So there is a sentiment, there is anger in the Algerian political scene and anger in the Algerian population that did not expect this because protests have been prevailing the country for the past 10 days. Major, massive protests. I would say one of the biggest protests that Algeria has ever seen since the independence in 1962. So there was some kind of hope that the ruling party would listen to the people's will, but unfortunately, it wasn't the case. So the sentiment here is one of anger, one of that the ruling party is challenging the people's will, and that is why people have taken to the street yesterday, right after the campaign manager of President Bouteflika announced or submitted his file with his absence. People don't know where the president is. We don't know his whereabouts, and that's what's making the people even angrier. We don't know if he's still in Geneva getting medical treatment. We don't know if he's back in the country. But what's sure, what we know for sure right now is that the president is too ill to be running the country.
So despite all these protests, the fact that he's standing in these elections, does that mean he is now going to become president again? Because is anyone standing against him, for instance?
Well, that's the thing. Most of his political rivals have said that they're withdrawing from the race. Yesterday was the last deadline for all candidates to submit their candidacy files in the Constitutional Council, and most of his opponents, major opponents, have said that they're withdrawing. Let's mention Ali Ben Flis. He's a former head of government who was running, and he said he's not running and he's boycotting the election. So the only real rival that could potentially be a threat to his election for the fifth term is Ali Ghediri. He's an ex-general in the army with no political experience. His candidacy was accepted yesterday by the Constitutional Council, so maybe he's the only one that could potentially win. But many political observers are even skeptical of the legitimacy of this candidate, Ali Ghediri, to the election, because they say that he's another face. He's just another pawn in the regime, for the regime. So he's their plan B. We don't know yet, but we'll see. But most people think or know that if the president runs for a fifth term, he will most likely win the election, because the transparency of the election is even put in question. We don't know that the elections are being transparent. Even the signatures that allowed the president to run for a fifth term, the number of signatures. Yes.